Evening. The time is 6:32 p.m. I will call the April 17th, 2024 meeting of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence to order. Can we stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you this evening asking you to continue to take care of me, take care of us as a council as we do our work for the City of Lawrence. Show us the good things that we often overlook and help us to understand the content of what your love is and what we are to do. These are the blessings I ask in your darling Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
The next agenda item is the roll call of members and the determination of a quorum. We have 8 councilors present this evening. Let the records reflect that there are 8 councilors present. This meeting has been properly noticed in accordance with the Indiana Open Door Law. Copies of the agenda are located at the back of the meeting room. Also, for any citizens wishing to speak under citizens' comments later in the agenda, please sign in using the sign-in sheet located in the back of the meeting room. The next agenda item is the ratification of contracts. I understand that the Administration, Budget, and Finance Committee met this evening to consider contracts for consideration and recommendations. Councilor Crone, are you prepared to give the council the recommendations of the committee?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Madam President. The Finance Committee met this evening at 5 p.m., and we reviewed 4 contracts, and they all received favorable votes. Recommendations.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Crone. We would need to consider a motion for each of the contracts. We will start with Robert W. Baird and Company.
So moved.
We have a motion. Who is that? Councilor Jennings. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Councilor Kramer. Any further discussion?
Just for the record, so the Baird is that the one for the $20,000 for the work that was done? Which one is that?
So Baird is the underwriter for the bond. Baird, Bose, and part of Bondry is part of the proceeds of the bond. The only $20,000 is from Bondry, which Oscar Gutierrez can speak on. That's mainly services he's done with the CUME-CAP and help give the administration some advisory, and the rest of his services will be paid through the proceeds of the bond.
Okay.
In the reverse.
20 will be reimbursed.
20 will be reimbursed.
The city chooses to pay something.
Yeah, okay, so thought that was the case. So I'm a little confused why we're approving a contract ahead of approving the bond. So hypothetically, if we had an unfavorable for the bond, you know what I'm saying?
That's what the retainer is for, so that we can compensate for the work. That's a retainer in case you guys don't move forward with it.
Gets paid for the work that he's done for preparation.
I know, but I still don't understand why we're doing it before we're doing.
It's usually included in the bond fees. Are typically included in the bond.
So that's all. It's just clear. That's what I'm typically used to seeing. So I'm just asking for clarification.
Well, just to further in the early stages, we were considering whether or not to move forward with the bond, and so we initially enlisted his services to get that started, and then once mayor made the determination, yes, let's move forward with it, that's when we passed a professional service contract, and as per that ordinance, if we anticipate any professional service related to that, we want to make sure the council is aware.
Yeah.
And that services, that $20,000 is part of that, what he's presented so far.
Yep.
No problem with the 20,000 at all. Yeah. Thank you.
Are we now ready to proceed to a vote? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, please say nay. All agree. The next contract is Sudi Solutions?
Sondi.
Solutions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Chavis. Do we have a second? Thank you, Councilor Jennings. Any further discussions?
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
We moved from a month-to-month contract to a yearly contract, which I think is a great deal. Did we get any break? 2%, 1%?
No, no, I just want the council to be aware that part of budget, that Sondi Solution, because we have like 3 or 4 staffers here, that in the next upcoming budget session, there will likely be a small increase of that simply because of to give their employees a little bonus. And so we can have that conversation, what that looks like for IT service for the next budget. But essentially, it just maintains it, just go from month to month to a year.
Okay. Was there any I think it makes sense to do it, but was outside of making sense, was there any advantages from us? I was surprised that we've had this significant contract with them for quite some time on a month-to-month basis. I mean, it's a huge contract with equipment and all kind of stuff. And so I just was curious, I guess, to figure out why we didn't have an annual contract in the past. I know you weren't here, and just didn't know if there was any benefit moving from month to month to annual in any sort of way.
I like you mentioned, I can't answer what was the reason for the previous administration. We just felt that we were comfortable with the services provided, particularly Lawrence Police Fire Department felt very comfortable about how the operations, how they perform, and felt necessary to secure and make that on an annual basis.
Okay, thanks.
Are we ready to proceed to a vote? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. It's unanimous. Next is Boise, McKinney, and Evans contract. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Thank you, Councilor Giles. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilor Chavis. Any further discussion? We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. It's unanimous. The next contract is Boundary Consulting. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Chavis. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Jennings. Any further discussion? We can now proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. It's unanimous, Clerk. The next agenda item is comments of the council members and special recognitions or resolutions. Do any council members have comments? Okay. No recognitions or solutions this evening. Next agenda item is the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of April 1, 2024. Are there any questions or corrections to the meeting minutes?
No.
None? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 1st, 2024?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Councilor Masur. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Freeman. Any discussions? We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. It's unanimous. The next agenda item is the signing of the vouchers, approval of claims, and authorization of payment. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the vouchers.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Chavis and Councilor Jennings for seconding. Any further discussion? We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. It's unanimous. The next agenda item are reports of committees. As stated earlier, I understand that the Administration, Budget, and Finance Committee met this evening. Councilor Crone, are you prepared to give the council the recommendations of the committee?
Yes, I am, Madam President. The Finance Committee met earlier this evening at 5 p.m. I tabled proposals number 3 and number 4 to future committee meetings to be scheduled, tentatively scheduled. No, we're not deemed tentatively, are we? I don't think we are. Future meeting.
Okay.
And with respect to proposal number 2, we gave a favorable recommendation.
Forward 10. I'm moving on number. Right. There'll be a public hearing on that on May 6th. Thank you, Councilor Crone. The proposal was introduced at our April 1st, 2024 meeting, and we have heard the recommendation from the Administration, Budget, and Finance Committee. This proposal has a public hearing that has been advertised for May 6th, 2024, so there is no action needed from the council at this evening. We will hold this public hearing and take action at the May 6, 2024 meeting in connection with the public hearing. The next agenda item is unfinished business. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title of the proposal into the record?
Proposal number 224. Proposal number 2, 2024, an ordinance of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, reestablishing the Cumulative Capital Development Fund and increasing the cumulative capital development tax rate.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, can you please read under unfinished business proposal number 3?
Proposal number 3, 2024, an ordinance of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of local municipal improvement projects within the city and effect the current refunding of various equipment lease financing obligations of the city, providing for the payment of such bonds from ad valorem taxes to be levied upon all of the taxable property located in the city to the extent not paid from general revenues of the city legally available for such purpose, providing for the safeguarding of the interest of the owners of said bonds, other matters connected therewith, and repealing ordinance inconsistent herewith.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The proposal was introduced at our April 15th, 2024 meeting, and we have heard the recommendation from the Administration, Budget, and Finance Committee. I would send this to the committee as a whole for the May 6th meeting, public hearing meeting. Next on the agenda is the proposal it's proposal number 4 for 2024. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of the proposal into the record?
Proposal number 4, 2024, appropriation ordinance of the City, Lawrence, Indiana, general obligation refunding and improvement bonds.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This proposal was introduced at our April 15th, 2024 meeting, and we have heard the recommendation from the Administration, Budget, and Finance Committee. I will send to the committee as a whole for our May 6th meeting, public meeting.
That's correct, Madam President, and that will be subject to availability and posting of an open door law notice for the committee as a whole.
Thank you, Attorney. Next on our agenda is new business, proposal number 5. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title?
Proposal number 5, 2024, a resolution to approve the City of Lawrence's 2024 ARP Fund Plan.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on the agenda is comments of the administration. On number 5.
No, I'll just let you, the council know. We sent the initial resolution, and there will be a revision be sent sometime this week for consideration once that's referred to finance. If you decide to take action and refer that to finance today, we'll make sure that revision is sent to the council sometime this week. We talked to the controller. He recognized there was a slight error, and so we just want to rectify that for the record.
Okay. For proposal 5.
The new one.
Okay.
The ARP?
Refer 5 to the committee.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Proposal 5 will be referred to the committee for May 6th for the availability. Refer to the Finance Committee.
Yes.
Thank you. Next will be comments of the administration. Thank you.
Just a few comments. First of all, I just want to thank everyone who came to the State of the City yesterday. Here, Mayor Whitfield outlined her vision for the city. We certainly appreciate all those from the public who attended as well. I also want to add, on May 11th will be Fiesta Lawrence at Lawrence Civic Plaza from 12 to 4 p.m. So hopefully everyone will be able to come out and join us there and be able to participate. We hope to have a good turnout. There will be a lot of food trucks and celebrative culture here in the city of Lawrence, so hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk Level. Anyone here that would like to talk about any of the proposals?
There was no comments. Madam President, there was no comments.
Okay, thank you. State your name, please, your business.
I think this is Oscar Gutierrez, Boundary Consulting, Municipal Advisor to the transactions before you. There were a couple of questions at the last council meeting that I wanted to address. The questions were asked around impact to taxpayers. During Finance Committee earlier, we covered some of that information. That information has been shared with the administration. There were some handouts in the front. And I just want to recap for the council meeting and for the public that houses in Lawrence that are valued at $120,000 or above are already at the tax cap, meaning that they are paying the maximum of the $1,200 for a house of $120,000. That is not inclusive of referendum dollars. And that was the question that was asked. We also provided 2 of the programs that are for seniors, 65 plus, that are available at the county. And we kind of cover how we arrived at the tax rate that we selected. But that was covered at the Finance Committee, but wanted to give the opportunity of the council as a whole, if they had any questions, any members that were not present.
Madam President,
Yes.
you did a fantastic job earlier today, but I just feel funny. It feels like we're taxing people that have houses 120 and below, and so I just feel like there's something we should be doing to rectify that, and I'm not sure how to do that, but it just doesn't feel right knowing that people who have houses that are kind of expensive-ish don't get an increase, but those who have a $120,000 or $100,000 house?
No, and I understand your sentiment. The 1% cap will eventually hit most of them, and you can only control what this body does, not to say that any increases that other bodies decide to take this year would not get those over the cap. On that example, a homestead of $100,000, the maximum that they would ever pay is $1,000 plus referendum. The current liability for those homes today is at $870. And again, for that example, it would go from $870 to $900, so it's a $30 difference, and $30, do a quick math here.
Couple cents.
Yeah, $2.50 a month is the increase to those residents.
I'm new, and so I really should be listening more than talking, but when I was a child, my grandmother, I got in trouble because I did bring her back her change for 35 cents. For me, it doesn't matter how much the price is. I just need to justify the tax, and it just seems odd that it's $120,000 or people that are closer to the money than people who can afford a more expensive house. And it seems like there's something we should do, or at least find out how many houses in Lawrence we should be, would possibly get that increase.
And that is something we would have to work with the county on, trying to determine the amount of homes that are at that, that are there. Another way that we can try to benchmark is if there are residences that within your districts that you think, hey, this household, how much is that? And you send me, we can pull the property card, and so we can customize it to that. I understand that it doesn't seem fair on the caps, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but that's just because it takes longer to get to that maximum for lower valued homes because of the deductions.
Yeah.
So when you add the $48,000 deduction, the supplemental, we didn't even add on there a mortgage exemption, which they could potentially have that. They could have some additional, veterans. But the net AV for that home is roughly, they're paying taxes on $33,000. So, it's the deductions that make it difficult to get to that maximum, because the deductions have a greater impact on lower value, where when you get that $48,000 on a $500,000 home, it doesn't really move the needle, so they get to that gap quicker. So that is part of the reason why it takes a little bit longer, because those deductions have a greater impact in lower valued homes, because it's more than half of the actual value.
Can I make a correction on that mortgage deductions?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, you know better. That's your day job, so please.
The state no longer requires the taxpayer to pay the mortgage deductions. It's been combined with their homestead, so.
And that's why my staff didn't put it on here, because they're smarter than I am. I'm just a mouthpiece. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam President, if I might.
Yes.
So I know you said that there was an estimated amount that would be raised from this levy. Have you, I don't know exactly your extent to what you do prior to the bond being written, but have you done any research to get to that point, to how many, a percentage of houses in Lawrence are under that 120,000 threshold, or how much of that percentage of that 1.5, whatever million you said, comes from businesses rather than homeowners, and how can we protect our most vulnerable citizens here in Lawrence?
We have not run that, so we reacted to the meeting that took place 2 days ago when the question was asked, what is the impact on taxpayers? We ran the calculations and brought it back. What I'm hearing you guys say is go find out how many exist, and we'll do that with the next counselor. So we're reacting to your questions, rightfully so we'll need just a little bit of time to do research, because we'll have to coordinate with the county. I don't know that that is something that the assessor's office may or may not keep track of, but we'll make the ask. Otherwise, we'll have to eyeball specific homesteads that you feel would be below that threshold in Lawrence, and then we can kind of at least calculate, eyeballing this neighborhood, the average home is here, it impacts these neighborhoods, and then maybe we can try and tackle it that way. But what I heard both of you loud and clear, you want to know who is impacted and how, and we'll try to get you an answer. Yes, it's important to note that the median household in Lawrence is at, it's also on this spreadsheet, $207,000 is the median. So half of that would be on the so I would imagine if you just take a pie chart that it wouldn't be a large population, but it is the most vulnerable to your point. So we'll find out the answer.
I guess my question was more so, how did you arrive at that estimate that you gave in the Finance Committee? You said that an estimated tax revenue. I thought you said that there was
The increase.
The increase? Okay. We are, I'll start over from the beginning. So the first thing we did is we identified the tax rate that the city has been levying against year in, year out. In 2019, it was 78 cents, 78.67 to be exact, and it kind of sporadically kind of moved around, and in 2024 is down to 69 cents. So 69.88 to be exact is what the city levies on residents. The total tax rate is actually $2.57 and $257.54. So out of the $257, this body's imposing 69 cents out of that. We discussed that the cum cap fund would be able to give you guys another 0.025 to allow to pay for vehicles. But then we were recommending going back to potentially 75 cents after discussions between the council and the administration. The decision was made that in 2019 is when, for good, bad, and different, there were differences between the administration and the council. No fingers pointed, no anything, but that's when things kind of started going south. And to revert it back to that 78 cents in 2019, to kind of just draw the line, let's go back in time and right size it again. So that's how we arrived at the 78 cents. So when I give you the $30 impact on a household of $100,000, is going from the 69 cents to the 78 cents. That's how we arrived at that number. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going back to new business under proposal number 5, just for clarity. That proposal will be submitted to the committee as a whole. Next on the agenda is the adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Councilor Kramer. Second? Thank you, Councilor Jennings. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I skipped citizens' comments. There are none. No one signed in. Okay. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.